Am I streaming again? There's no way I just ended my stream accidentally. There's no way I just accidentally ended my stream. I'm so... Hold on, I'm kind of mad. Oh my god. That means the recording stopped as well. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's no way. Okay, I can't even tell if I'm live right now. Hold on a second. Oh, bro, I am appalled. I am appalled. This is me, theoretically. Okay, I am live again. I'm live on a stream called Ain't No Way. Okay, okay. Oh, I'm so pissed, actually. I'm actually a little mad. Because I had, like, so few technical difficulties. My 2026... part of my 2026 resolutions was, like, not to have technical difficulties. Okay, but you are all back. Everyone's back now. Okay, I gotta reopen my chat so I can see what you're all saying. It's funny, I can see you on the screen, but I can't see you anymore on my computer. Okay, you're all back. Yay! Someone said I'm being silenced by big data. Oh my god, that was so annoying. Okay, well... I'm back. Okay, okay, okay. Thumbs up. We're good again. Someone said yesterday I had to climb 10 flights of stairs because the elevator wouldn't go up. Once, I had to climb 26 flights of stairs. I don't think I climbed a single stair after that. I don't think I climbed... I would actively avoid stairs after that point. I really, really would. Someone said when he comes back, will it reload or will he have to start a new stream? It has to be a new stream. Yeah, I think that stream is dead. That stream is just... Somebody said on the first try it was quiet, not muted. Is that true? Hold on, chat. Wait a second. I have the wrong stream chat open right now. I'm looking at the dead stream chat. I'm looking at people in the afterlife. All of these people right here are in the afterlife. Okay, somebody needs to go back to the other stream and tell the afterlife people, come join us. Oh my god, hold on, wait. I hate streaming so much. How do I get out of the afterlife and transfer to the new people who are alive currently and are probably chatting their heads off and I can't see them? Hold on. Oh my gosh. All right. This is amazing, chat. This is amazing content. Couldn't find your Google account. Google, how can you not find my Google account when I'm currently live on youtube.com? I want you to think about that one, Google. What is there not to find if I'm actually streaming through my Google account on your platform? Y'all piss me off a lot. Y'all piss me off really bad. Okay, hold on. This is so good. This is so good. Okay, I'm logging in right now. I had to like log back out and back in. Thankfully, I don't think any of you should have to do that. You should just be able to switch tabs, theoretically. Okay. Okay, great. Sign in window closed. Start recording. So if I select a different live source and I activate that one, I think everyone should be back. It doesn't seem like we've been able to find any active live YouTube chat. Wait a second. I think we're getting scammed here. Select live sources. Okay. There are 2,000 people watching me right now. YouTube, you're not finna gaslight me. There's 2,000 people watching something, and they are somewhere. They're not on my screen and they're not moving. Also, that wouldn't be gaslighting. I know I'm misusing the word. You're back! I see you. You're alive. Someone said we are right here. Period. You're not finna invalidate me or my live chat. Okay. That's a better word than gaslighting. It would be invalidation, not gaslighting. You're not finna invalidate us. We are so back. We have never been more back. Okay, period. Y'all, I felt so dumb. Sometimes I feel so stupid. And I have to remind myself, I'm not dumb. Streaming is hard. Technology is difficult. Like, Lord. I am dumb, actually. And I am stupid, but not in this way. I'm dumb when it comes to matters of the heart. And like interfacing with human beings normally. I'm not good at that either, but I'm good at YouTube. Sometimes it's just really complicated. But you know what? I got us back up off the ground. Look at my beanie just staying there. You think I can make this work? I got it back up off the ground and we didn't even really lose that much viewership. Or if we did, I don't care. Okay, yeah, no, that was crazy. Okay, I'm so glad we're back. Yeah. Fun fact before I start recording again, I'll give you a story time. 5 years ago, when I used to stream on Twitch, which I don't recommend unless you're doing gaming content. Twitch is fine for gaming content. I don't think it's a super great platform for trying to stream anything else. But whenever my stream would go offline, then I would cry. Actually, there was one point where I went live and then it died immediately, and then I went live again and just kind of cried a little bit. And I was just like, I'm so overwhelmed. There's thousands and thousands of people who are live right now on the internet, and why can't I make one live stream work? What am I doing wrong? But thankfully, I hit a point recently, something about turning 26. It was more like 27. Now I don't care. It's so nice not to care. Like, obviously I would prefer that I hadn't nuked the live stream and then I had to come back and we have to get back into the swing of things. Nowadays, I don't care. If the tech gods decide that I was only going to stream for an hour and a half and I actually feel like this is going to frustrate me to pick it back up, we dipping. You finna get a chair. You like my chair? That's what y'all are going to see for the I'm leaving. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to take it personally. But yeah, no, like live streaming is just really, it's complicated. Someone said, I was happy to be here to witness this. You managed it so well. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I do think I managed it well, because that's the thing. Here, let me tell you this right now. It's gonna get freaky. It's gonna get freaky. So, trigger warning, I'm about to get a lot harsher. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna do this in a different order. Oh, look at that. He's green. Did you see me turn green? Hold on. I'm gonna put back on the pretty filter. Okay. And when I say filter, I mean color filters. I don't use filters for my face because I don't need filters for my face because I'm very attractive naturally. But I will color filter the heck out of my videos. So I have a color filter and then I have color correction. I'm going to turn that off right now. It's pretty mild. But now without the color filter and the color correction, I look kind of green and purple at the same time. Now I'm going to turn off the background. Now I'm nowhere. Now you're getting real life. I'm sitting in front of a green wall. That's so boring. It's not even a wall. I don't have space in this apartment for a green wall, but I'm sitting in front of a green screen. Wait, you're like, wait a second. Why is there still lighting? Why is there still lighting coming from the left, the right, whatever side that is? Because that's not real either. Look at that. That wasn't real either. I added that to make it feel nicer. You're like, well, I don't know. The lighting isn't that bad. You have this nice gradient from the top going into like these darker colors at the bottom. No, you don't. I added that too. Look at that. On, off. That's fake. So it's so funny how like it is actually so complex to get a nice stream. I could stream at you like this. Hey guys, welcome back to my videos. And I do feel like you would still watch it because it's not like these things matter that much. But yeah, no, I do my color correction. I do my heavy color correction. I do my green screen. It's not easy to green screen content live, but I have to do it. I turn on my fake light coming in from the window. Just a little bit of fake light coming in from the window. I turn on the shadows at the bottom. That way I just feel like it looks a little nicer that way. Because I have so many visual effects running to make this stream look the way that it does, I realized something. If I want to show y'all things on my computer, it's not going to work. If I want to use the same computer that is green screening me, color correcting me, doing all these things in real time and streaming it live on the internet, and I want to show you a YouTube video, we would be crashing every 5 minutes. So that is why I had to get another computer. I had to get another computer separate from this computer. And I had to be like, this is where I'm going to use play videos, this, that, the other. And we can just look at that computer through my computer, through the pretty computer. So the pretty computer, if I go back to my PC for a second here. Elgato, no signal. No, you finna have a signal. There we go. If I go back to my... I said you finna have a signal. You better produce something. There we go. If I go back to my other PC, yeah, when you see this, this is another computer. Oh, coming back and looking at pictures of Candace Owens, that should have been trigger warning. But anyways, when you come back and look at my other screen, oh, I realized I need to turn the chat back on. There you go. You have a completely separate computer that's popping off right there, right? And so already having a 2-machine setup is so difficult. It is so difficult, but I did not want a laggy stream. I don't want a laggy stream. I feel like people put up with lag in streams because it's not easy to have laggy streams. I just don't want it. So I was like, if I have to purchase a whole separate computer so that I can set, it's a term that's used in like programming, separation of concerns. If I have to separate the concern of having a pretty video and being able to show you things online, I will do it. I will invest. I will invest. Okay. Someone said W production value. It is a W. Cause y'all, I'm trying to have the best streams on. I'm trying to have the best streams in the space. That's the thing about me. I'm always trying to have the best videos in the space. And like, here's the thing. People say it, right? People are like, oh, you're my favorite YouTuber, or you're one of my favorite YouTubers. Look, I'll take one of. I don't got to be your favorite YouTuber. I'll be one of them though. That's good enough for me. But I take that with a grain of salt because I'm like, there is like, you get to a level where your audience thinks that you're putting out good content, then you're probably putting out good content. That for me is like 95%. I always want that extra 5% of like, it's not enough for people to like the streams. I genuinely need to feel like I'm doing something really cool. And that is why I commission the background. I do all the color correction. I try to make it look like you're watching a movie in real time. You know what I mean? Because I always want there to be that extra little beyond the beyond so that I can justify it. Because the way YouTube works, honestly, like, you can kind of post anything and you'll find your people. you can post any form of content and you will probably, with consistency, have a bunch of people telling you all the time, this is great, this is awesome content. But I find that that's not very good for a growth mindset. it doesn't really lend itself to improving your content over the years. And so that's why over the years you've seen me change my aesthetic so many times. I guess I've never even gotten into this. That's so interesting. Like, people do ask me a lot of times, like, D'Angelo, why are you constantly changing your aesthetic? Or it's like no one's mad. It's like a meme. And I like the meme. I like that you all expect me to have something new, because that's how I think about content. You know what I mean? If I was still showing up, I guess, with the same backdrop that I've had for the last 7 years, that is a valid way of doing YouTube. Some of my favorite YouTubers are still sitting in the same room, and it's not bad content because they have it so locked in. But I always want to be that guy where I'm like, what can I do this time? How can I surprise people this time? And I think that that's part of my longevity. I've had like a space theme. I've had like this weird gradient pink and blue theme where it was just a gradient background, but that was pretty iconic. I used to have there's like a big window behind me with real cars and stuff. I had that one set up as like, I had to figure out how to shoot in front of a giant window. It's not as easy as it sounds. I had to put a bunch of screens up and stuff like that. And then the aesthetic that I had right before this, which was like all the brown stuff and the beige, I had to like set that up. But yeah, I'm always changing my aesthetic because I always feel like it's nice to have that extra 5%. You don't just have to worry about the content itself. You can always think to yourself, like, he wants it to look nice. It's not enough for me to tell him that it's cool. He's also working really hard to make something cool for us personally. That's my approach to content. You know, that's just my approach. Someone said, I'm loving the new season of D'Angelo Wallace. I view it not as seasons. I view it as album cycles. I know that sounds stupid, but listen, I'm a huge pop music fan. And there are certain artists who are able to reinvent themselves so iconically that you know things are going real. Like, for example, I say that and then all examples I can think of immediately vacate my mind. Like, for example, let's use Dua Lipa. Okay, I think she's a pretty solid example. I don't think Dua Lipa is a horrible person or this is going to be like glazing or whatever. That's the thing in 2026. I'm trying to make sure I'm not like glazing celebrities, which I don't really think I do usually, but like I really want to make sure I'm being critical, but I'm also trying to make sure I'm giving credit where they're due. So Dua Lipa, for example, normally kind of just has her I'm Dua Lipa look, right? But if Dua Lipa shows up with some red hair, then you're thinking to yourself like, whoa, this is wild. She must be doing something interesting, right? If she shows up the way she looked in Future Nostalgia, it's like, what is this? She's got like the Starship Enterprise dyed into her hair. You're thinking to yourself, we're probably about to eat. We're probably about to get some crazy music. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I view like YouTube content creation, because I do often have these breaks, much like people who release albums. I think if I come back and I still have the locks and I'm still sitting in front of the, you know, brown background and stuff like that, you might be thinking to yourself like, okay, we're going to get some content and that's fine because I like content. But when I come back and it's bald and it's skin clear and it's like I am in pink cyberspace CG, this place that I just completely made up, and you're like, whoa, I haven't seen D'Angelo like this before. That's when you're like, oh, we're about to eat. We're about to eat. That's what I want every single time I come back. I want people to be like, oh, nah, we're about to eat. And that is why I think I'm able to kind of maintain relevance. Because look, I promise you, as much support as I have, if I just came back the same way every time, it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fun. Someone said, what does the logo in your header say? I can't read that. The logo in my header? Oh! Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm going to show you what this person is talking about. Let me go back. So right now, if you were to go to youtube.com/d-angelo, you would get nothing. because I forgot that you're supposed to put an at. So if you're supposed to go there, I have this crazy logo in my header, which is not getting bigger as I try to zoom in. And I knew that people weren't going to be able to read this. It says D'Angelo, spoiler alert. I knew that people weren't going to be able to read this. Similarly, if you go to my videos, I have this new thumbnail aesthetic I'm trying, where I'm putting this text in the background that is not possible to read. You may also notice this same motif repeated across the clothes that I'm wearing. I have copies of this. I will be wearing the same outfit every stream. You can't really tell what this says. And I think I became obsessed with the idea of metal band logos. Okay? I do listen to rock. I don't listen to a lot of metal per se, but metal band logos are notorious for being absolutely unreadable. What does this say? Hold on, let me make it bigger. I don't know what that says. See, I wanted to kind of come back with like not just a pink aesthetic, but I wanted to superimpose a bunch of like really heavy metal stuff on top of it because I thought that that would be really funny. I also kind of see it as a play on the fact that nobody reads things anyway. How often have you seen somebody post a headline and then people are in the comments reacting to the headline and you can tell from the comments that no one actually read the article? I realized in a world of no one actually having, dare I say, literacy, I was like, what if no one could read anything that I was putting out? And I just kind of never adjusted. So yeah, when you see me upload a thumbnail tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, when you see me upload a thumbnail on Monday and you're like, what does that say behind him? Don't worry, because I barely know what it says. If you're like, what does this hoodie say? What does his... I've obfuscated all of it in the name of camp. Nobody's reading anything anyway. Just click into the darn video. So that's what it says. It says D'Angelo in like a metal format. And the thing is too, I paid for this. I edited it myself after the fact to like give it that metallic look and spruce it up and stuff. But like, I commissioned somebody. I was like, hey, can you turn the word D'Angelo into a metal band logo? I paid them and they turned in really awesome work. That's the thing is like, I think the main thing I want to spend money on, if I was going to spend money on anything this year, supporting artists. In a world of AI, everything, in a world where I guess I could have just been like D'Angelo metal logo and then hit generate and gotten something, I don't think it would have looked as cool. I just don't think any of this would have been as cool. Anyways, enough about me ranting about the aesthetics. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I gotta stop apologizing for things. Someone said name drop the artist. I commissioned them. Hold on. I can tell you who did it. Actually, I'll do it later because I just realized I've been on a tangent for a while. Yo, it's getting dangerous. But yeah, I'll credit them later because the art will always be there. It's going to be there all year. But no, I paid. I did not pay them in exposure. I paid them in dollars. I feel like if you're going to flex anything with money, flex that you supported a smaller artist than you. I don't think that people are very receptive anymore to like me showing up in a full Gucci tracksuit. I just don't think that's a level of wealth that people want to see. Now, that being said, I'm not finna sit here and play y'all. I get paid from the videos and I've uploaded a lot of videos. So it's not like I don't have money, but I really do feel like emphasizing any sort of wealth gap in today's climate is like a level of tone deafness that I don't understand. I don't understand why people are still obsessed with being like, look at all this designer I bought, designer. And I also don't think designer is that good of an investment most times anyway. I do think like paying money for good things that last is a good thing, but I feel like it gets a little silly. When I think about designer anything, I try to think about longevity. So don't tell anybody, but but these are designer glasses. I will spring for something that I will actually have to wear a lot and get a lot of utility and usage out of. But for me, that's really only glasses and maybe shoes sometimes. When it comes to like, I don't know, anything else, I don't see the reason. I don't see the reason. I don't see the reason. Someone said a lot of designer things don't last either. No, they don't. Honestly, that's the thing. Well, okay. A lot of people who actually have money to consistently afford designer clothing do so seasonally, which I think is such an annoying and like consumerist, overconsumptive way of having a wardrobe. Of like every single year, Louis Vuitton is going to tell you the next batch of things that you have to buy, and so you have to be seen wearing Louis Vuitton ready to wear 2026 collection. And every single year it's the same thing where like Apple, this is not an Apple phone, but Apple is constantly changing these back here so that you can always tell that somebody doesn't have the latest iPhone. I hate how it's just so ridiculously like geared towards overconsumption. I think that's the thing that's really annoying about designer clothes. If it was really a thing where it's like, hey, if you give us more money for more clothes, then we are actually going to pay people very well to construct good things. And we are going to source things ethically, even if that is more expensive. And then you're going to get that. And that is what you're paying for, the designer. And you're going to get things that are not mass produced in ways that are horrible for the environment. It'd be designer all day. But what is the point of a $2,000 sweater if the people behind it have the exact same attitude as like Fashion Nova? It's really silly. Someone said expensive fast fashion. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's literally like you are paying $2,000 for a sweater that is essentially made with the same principles in mind as things that you can find on Fashion Nova. So I don't understand what people are paying for a lot of times when they're paying for designer clothing. This hoodie, dope as it is, it was $100. I think it might have been like $130. I did not pay, $3,000 to look really cool because I don't have to do that. No one has to buy designer. Yeah, someone said $2,000 sweatshop clothes. Yeah, no, it's not cool. I don't know. I definitely initially fell for the hype a while ago when I was like, oh, I'm supposed to have nice things if I can afford them, right? No. You should have good things. You should have good things that last you and have utility in your life. If you don't need a mansion, why do you own a mansion? Honestly, if you have a bunch of empty rooms in your house, why do you have that house? That's kind of how I approach things. I don't know, but whatever. You can't stop people from buying the latest garbage. Someone said nice hoodies are expensive though. No, they are. That's the thing. Like, I always want to be clear that there's always another side to it. I know that, for example, fast fashion gets a lot of flack, and it should. Things that are bad for the environment, the thing is, like, fast fashion isn't just bad for like the environment as we know it. It's literally bad for people's homes. A lot of the trash, the waste that is generated, it is washing up in real countries, occupied by real people. It's really not cool that we are now using certain areas of the world where people actually live as like essentially landfills. So it's not like there's no reason to criticize that. However, at the same time, and this is where I'm asking you to hear this with some nuance, I do sometimes find the anti-fast fashion verbiage, sometimes it starts veering into things that sound a little too close to like poor people shouldn't have nice things. And I know that sounds like a stretch. But sometimes I'm just listening to what people are saying and they're like, I don't think I like the idea, I guess, that like if Shein was the only place you could find something, say, in your size and that you thought was nice clothing, I don't really like putting a lot of blame on the person in that scenario. I do still think all the blame should be on Shein, first of all, for exploiting the people that they exploited to create that. It should be on regulations that are not preventing this waste from affecting other people. But I don't really like, I guess, a lot of like, oh, you bought a really cool like 3XL dress off of, Shein. You should be shopping at Walmart. You should be going to a thrift store. I'm just like, I can't go that far with it. Personally, I can't go that far with it. I don't blame individual people for the systems they're under. Now, please stop shopping at Shein. I can say that. You know what I mean? I can be like, hey, I'm sure. Yeah, I guess I can say please stop shopping at Shein, but I'm definitely not going to be that person who is just like, well, give up on having nice clothes. But that's the thing that's really annoying. Sizes. Look at all these things that we're doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for many people, they do wind up feeling like this is their only option. I more so see it as a lot of the people buying these clothes also being exploited. And that's kind of a big thing with like my 2026 stuff I want to get into too. I don't always just want to be blaming people for the choices that they're making under these environments. Wait, people are saying the stream froze? I felt it freeze. I felt a disturbance in the ether, but I think we're back. I think we are so back. I think we are so back. Stream is telling you to talk about the video topic. Nah, fam, we digressing. I haven't even hit record yet. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna finish the video, but yeah, all this to say, I'm really happy to be able to talk about these things in a live stream format. Because let me tell you this right now, y'all. If I uploaded a video and I said, I don't think everyone who has bought anything from Shein, Temu, or Fashion Nova should be criticized as heavily as they are, all the comments are going to be like, wow, well, and I'm going to get all these diatribes, but I literally usually just need that extra 30 seconds to add my asterisk. I'm like, I'm not saying it's good practices. I'm saying it's totally okay to have empathy for people who feel like they have limited options when they did not create the scenario that gave them limited options, and educating people about alternatives to things. That's what I like saying. Personally, okay? That's just my opinion. But yeah, things do cost money. I don't know. Okay, I thought it froze again. Things do cost money, and it's really tricky. People do that with tattoos a lot too, by the way. Actually, can I talk about that for a second? Where if you have tattoos, and you maybe don't have a lot of money, I very commonly see this idea of like, well, look where this person clearly has no priorities. You shouldn't be living paycheck to paycheck and also spending money, I guess, to improve your appearance, or what you think is an improvement for your appearance. I find it strange. I really, really do think that genuinely society believes that poor people should not have fun. And I used to be poor for a long time. I think society believes like bigger people should not have nice clothes, and no one should be able to afford anything, and it's gross. But that's just what happens when capitalism is the driving force behind all of the literature that we're being exposed to as young people. Womp, 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 womp. Someone said tattoos are the only thing people can't steal from me. I mean, true. True. Someone said people think poverty is a choice that you make by making stupid decisions, as if it's not a systemic issue. Yeah, no, literally. I don't know. Being judgmental over what people do with their money is so... Being judgmental over what people do with their money if they're not rich is played. I'm judgmental over what rich people do with their money all the time. And you're not going to take that away from me right there. Okay? Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Someone said, I remember when that lady got infamous for buying cupcakes with her EBT. People was wildin'. Yeah. What is this idea that, like, if you're on food stamps, for example, or EBT or any sort of assistance, what should you be buying? Potatoes only? Like, I I hate it. I hate it so much as somebody who, oh my God. I know I say the phrase as somebody who used to be poor. It changes you. It changes you. It changes you, y'all. So it's like, why do you care? No, for real, for real, for real, for real. But that's me. Is like, I try to be grounded. I try to be grounded. I think like if I was just somebody who lived in LA, was only surrounded by content creators who were also making as much money as I was, I think I would probably sound pretty horrible if I talked about money, or I think I would sound like I'm lacking some sort of core empathy, because I hear that a lot when creators are just money, money, money. I made this amount of, I don't really think people always need to know how much you're making. I don't think it's the transparency you think it is. I actually have a lot of financial responsibility for my family members, right? I'm not the only person, I guess, who is benefiting when you click into my streams. And I'm sure the same goes for a lot of content creators, but like, I still have poor people in my family, bro. What do you mean? I'm not low income anymore, but we're still low income. I guess you can't like take away. I'm never gonna get so influencer brained that I stop understanding how much money the average person actually has. Just because I don't have these problems anymore doesn't mean I'm never thinking about them and stuff like that. It's dumb. People be dumb. Somebody said, would you ever move to LA or California? All right, listen. No shade to you if you live in LA or California. Or I can't speak to California. I haven't been anywhere except LA. Something is wrong in LA, in the entertainment industry. I'm not talking about the people who live there. There's a lot of people just minding their own business in LA, actually. But the people who go to LA because they thought they had to go to LA because they were popping off on some social platform because they're chasing some sort of career, bro, people there are cracked. The meanest anybody has ever been to me has been in LA. I think coming from the South, I was kind of shook that people were being mean to my face while smiling with really great teeth, really nice veneers, saying the nastiest stuff about me because I was from Texas, or like making fun of me. So much of the culture around LA involves living in LA all the time. And the fact that other people don't live in LA and we do. And it's so antithetical to, I can't do it. 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 Someone said they're so hateful and miserable. Yeah. And again, I am not talking about people who live in LA, like who already live there. I'm not even talking about people who move there and like make a living or whatever. It is just me, someone like me who is not from LA, moving to LA to live in LA because I'm quote unquote in entertainment. I don't like people like me who live in LA. I don't like y'all. I don't want to live there. It's strange to me that you need the status symbol of also living in LA, but now it sounds like I'm being judgmental. But I can't be, because I was interfacing. People were so mean. It was so weird. It was so weird. Someone said people that smile while being rude legit scare me. No, for real. Yeah, people were... Okay. I'm not outing anybody. I'm not outing anybody, right? But because this person isn't an influencer, you wouldn't be able to find them by me mentioning them. This is not a YouTuber. This is not somebody you've heard of. But somebody who was in entertainment while I was recording a commercial in LA, which is the most annoying sentence I've ever said. They essentially were like, I don't remember what it was that I was a little slow to understand. But they had explained something. I didn't understand it because it's not always easy for me to understand things when they're immediately presented, hence the streams. I don't like to blame everything on ADHD, but that's kind of why I wasn't understanding something. And this guy was like, oh, do I have to explain it again? Well, I mean, you're from Texas, right? And I was just like, it wasn't even like that was like an isolated incident. This is how people were like constantly joking about like dunking on everyone who's not from there, is implying that I'm stupid. And I'm just like, Bro, this is exhausting. I don't want my whole humor style to be about everybody else just being not as good as me while having a giant veneer smile on my face. And yeah, when that guy was like, yeah, you're from Texas, right? I didn't react weirdly. I was like, that I am. And I told myself, I'm not coming back here for more than 1 week at a time. I went back to LA for VidCon, I think in 2024. And I would go to VidCon again because that was a great experience because I got to talk to people. But yeah, no, this is, y'all are so weird over there. Y'all are so weird over there. Someone said, as a transplant from Oklahoma to LA, I can confirm. Yeah, no, fam. No, fam. So imagine having manners that bad. Imagine having manners that bad while affecting or like performing good manners and like smiling at people. It's really weird. It's really weird. Look, I don't want to glaze Southern culture because we have a lot of problems, but I will say this. We'll at least say whatever we're thinking about you to your face. Like, you push a Southern person to a certain point and they will figure out how to bless your heart, word something to let you know that they think you're being dumb. They won't smile. There's only so much passive aggressiveness that you can get away with in the South before it veers into nonsense. Okay. Enough digression. I'm gonna get back into the topic now that I'm back. Now that we're so back, I'm gonna hit record. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying this is a superpower or something, but I think the reason that I am kind of good at these streams is I'm not blaming this on ADHD. Well, I gotta stop saying blaming things on ADHD. I do have it, right? It is kind of like a massive portion of why I process things the way that I do. And it's not a negative thing. So I think I'm going to curb that language. But what I'm going to say is one of my skills is it doesn't matter how much I diverge. For me personally, I could put myself right back into where I was. I remember exactly where I was in the stream. Some of y'all might not even realize that we were several tabs down. I never closed those tabs. They were still running in the background. You're like, how do we have metal band logos open? How do we have Dua Lipa open? How did we have Candace Owens open? Because I was in the very middle of telling you all about Elon Musk's X platform and people using Grok AI to generate these negative things. And then Candace Owens had come up for a second. And what I was going to say before we get back into it, because I do want to finish the tangent, I can't pull up the video right now because my audio is not working, which I'm really, really sad about. But Philip DeFranco had uploaded a YouTube video in which he talked about Candace Owens. My gosh, I'm so tired of seeing myself. Go away. I gotta stop going to YouTube homepage. Am I the first thing on y'all's homepages too? It's so scary. Someone said, I guess the Elon updates channel's back. Nah, you ain't finna turn me into an Elon updates channel. I swear to God. Even if he does 2 things in 1 week that I think would actually be an important video, I will skip the second thing. I do not care. Anyways, Philly D was talking about Candace Owens in a video that none of you are going to hear because my capture card is garbage. It was this video right here. I'm zoomed in too far about her. So like, you still can't hear this, can you? It's all a waste. It's all for nothing. Someone asked me if I recorded. Yes, I hate record. Thank you. So fill me in, PHIL. I was just going to bring up because someone had said, yeah, it's okay. I know that you guys can't hear it. Don't worry. I'm going to fix it for the next stream. But someone had said in the chat, is it gay to criticize AI? Jokingly. And that kind of reminded me that when I was watching, they said that ironically, right? But when I was watching this Philip DeFranco video, there's this one part where he was playing Candace talking. And hold on. And she just casually says right here, investigators have discovered, this is what the lawyer told me, until May, the text messages that, hold on. Yeah, she said, the text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. In the year of our Lord 2025, I mean, it's 2026 now, but I watched this a couple weeks ago. I was like, conservative influencers are unironically describing things as fake and gay in 2025. I got so taken out of, because I had clicked into this video for information. I feel like Philly D, he will bring you the information. You know what I mean? From there, I can spin off and do more research if I want. I wasn't even here to be caught up in this whole conservative, this, that, the other thing. I wasn't thinking about it. And I just got catapulted back into like 2010 when she said that feels very fake and gay. I was like, these people are not serious. And I know that said a lot. I know that said a lot about conservative commentators. I'm like, how is that in your vernacular and you were being for real? You were being for real. Someone says suddenly I'm 10 years old again. Yeah, no. The dumbest thing I ever heard. I made a mental note. I was like, bro, we have to talk about Candace Owens calling things fake and gay in 2025 as if she's really eating. As if this is somehow beyond a middle grade commentary level. It's so, oh my gosh. Nah, fam. Candace is not it. She ain't it. This whole, if you have to grift that hard, maybe the grift just ain't worth it. Maybe the grift just ain't worth it. Nah, fam. Nah, fam. And then it's also funny too, because like, you can see me trying to figure out how to avoid terms of service violations. It's funny because they still hate her. And I'm gonna leave it at that. That's enough Candace Owens. That's enough Candace Owens talk. Let's get back to what we were talking about for real. Let me pull my outline back up. It's just kind of funny that you did all that just for people to genuinely still hate you. That's all I'm saying. Someone said I hate that my friends watch her. That's really tricky, isn't it? That's really tricky. I think a lot of online people would tell you, then ditch your friends, get rid of your friends right now. And I'm just going to say, that's not always the most productive way of navigating things. Because I feel like I do know some people who are genuinely not hateful, but hate goes over their head. I think it's like, now Candace Owens is very extreme. I do think the level of, I'm like, I don't really think I could rock with somebody on the level of them watching Candace Owens. That's just me. But I will say, sometimes my friends will send me things that are from conservative influencers, but they're not even realizing it's conservative content because it's been packaged in a way that doesn't seem like that's what it is. I remember my younger brother sent me something from Brett Cooper. I remembered her name. Okay, hold on. There's this YouTuber named Brett Cooper. Or she's not a YouTuber. She's more like a shill, honestly. She's more like a face. Yeah, she's just constantly like trying to dunk on like trans people and women and the left people. It's really, really lame. The way that she runs her channel, or whoever runs her channel for her. And I'm not saying like, oh, I don't believe that this person could be doing this because she's a woman or whatever. It's so obvious that this is a corporate channel. It's so obvious that there's so much money behind her. But my brother had sent me a short from her, and it wasn't political. It was literally just like kind of, I don't know what she was talking about. It was like a Reddit post or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, I find that to be evil, personally. I know evil is a strong word. I find it to be evil to make sure that you're also posting apolitical stuff that you can kind of rope young people, because my siblings are a lot younger than me, rope young people into watching your content. And then when he logs back into his shorts feed next time, you're going to get Brett Cooper talking about trans issues. You're going to get Brett Cooper talking about women ruining, Marvel movies or whatever it is she likes talking about. And I'm like, that's ugly. That's ugly. And so that is why if somebody does say to me like, oh yeah, Candace Owens or like Brett Cooper or whatever, I don't immediately jump to like, oh, you got to be hateful, because they might not even be all the way in the pipeline. they might just casually sometimes get Brett Cooper on their page. Sometimes. And not realize what's going on there. It's just nasty. It's awful. It's awful. Someone said they used to watch her and Bald White. Is that Blair White? Before realizing how conservative and damaging their content is. Yeah, Blair White's a pretty good example. I mean, I made a video about that years ago about me watching Blair White content and not realizing it was transphobic because it wasn't packaged as transphobia. Oh man, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Bald White? I just read what somebody typed. I don't know what that's a reference to. Okay. Hold on a second. Oh, I started typing on the wrong keyboard again. Someone said we love breaking out of the pipeline though. Yes. I have so much empathy for people who get caught up in the pipeline because you were manipulated. Okay. You're responsible for your actions, but like, you were kind of groomed. There's a lot of ways to be groomed, and that's what I don't think people realize. If I say grooming, I think most people's first thought is like adults preying upon children. And yeah, that's where most of your thoughts should be, obviously. But like, y'all, you can get groomed into anything by anyone. You can get groomed into having political opinions because you never consciously decided to have that opinion. You just kept getting exposed to it in ways in which it was presented in a distorted manner that started registering as truth to you. You've been groomed. And so I try to maintain empathy for some people. Now, granted, obviously there's levels to everything. You know, don't take me out of context. Y'all know if you're on Facebook typing awful things about, you know, the LGBT community, you're beyond the beyond. But the bulk of people's audiences are hands off. If you think about how many people are watching this stream right now versus how many people are chatting in the stream, it's not the same amount. Look how reasonably my chat moves versus the pretty large number of people that are watching it right now. It's always that large number of people that will actually drive content. And a lot of times they're not hateful. they're not actively engaged with it on the same level of what people think when they think hateful content. That is why I believe conservative media thrives so well, because it sits so invisibly in a playlist of other mind-numbing content, and so many people share it without thinking about it. And that is how we have gradually shifted the window of what is okay so far to the right. It's what I've noticed just kind of doing media analysis and stuff. But that's just me. Someone says shout out for being at work. Hey, I'm at work too. I'm at work right now. Sometimes I'm chatting but not even reading what others say because it's too much. It's a lot of info. For real. Education, communication, community building. That's how we fix this, helping each other. Exactly. Now, know when to put your foot down, right? Don't let anybody in the name of tolerance convince you to put up with something that is disadvantaging you. Obviously. But at the same time, I definitely think we could all stand to have a lot more empathy. Personally. And that's just me. Anyways, my outline for the Elon Musk stuff, I didn't have too much else there, but there was one final thing that I wanted to get into because I thought it would be kind of funny. Because I can't just end this video with like these disgusting charges, or not. They're not charges yet because no one's been charged with what they're doing. I can't just end the video on the note of like, oh yeah, they're generating deep fakes of kids and women without their consent, and that's the video. I did kind of also want to talk about the way that Elon's company XAI is responding to the media talking about this. If I go back to this Reuters article, in this video in which this woman was coming forward about her experience about non-consensually having these images generated and stuff like that, when the BBC reached out to Elon Musk about this, let me see if I can find it. Control F. Legacy. XAI, the company behind Grok, did not respond to a request for comment other than with an automatically generated reply stating legacy media lies. And actually, every single article, because I know I do just mostly read articles, but I do actually read them, y'all. Every single article that I saw about this, and there's plenty because this is popping off right now. Oh, what? I spelled legacy wrong. They just auto reply to all mainstream media right now with legacy media lies. And I'm like, this is so cringe. This is so cringe. Okay. Let's get one thing out of the way. Yes, news outlets have agendas. That's not what I'm really getting out of this. I just think responding in such like a trollish, automatic way says so much about the way Elon Musk runs a company. I don't think, what happened to professionalism? what happened to like not being a cringe edgelord literally all the time? Someone said he's such a loser. No, that's what I'm getting at. He's levels of edgelord that I find to be genuinely unreal. Do y'all remember this meme right here? Y'all remember this sort of fedora man energy? The fact that y'all don't realize that this is what Elon Musk is today, to this day. How are we actually letting Elon Musk get away with being an unironic fedora guy in the year of our Lord 2026? I don't understand it. I found there's this, here he is right here. He's showing up. Oh, hold on, I realize I'm covering it with chat. He's showing up to events with like, am I missing something? This is literally at, I think, like a conservative convention. You are actually Katana guy. This is the level of edgelord cringe that we have permitted at this point. Y'all remember last year or the year before where he was talking about like dark gothic MAGA? Yeah, Elon Musk saying, I'm dark gothic MAGA. He make America goth again? Wait, that's funny. That's funny. But no, like, what? You're... Damn. You're seeing how bad I am at typing. You know what? This is real too. Listen, if you're 54 and you're in my chat right now and you want to have a goth aesthetic, you should do it. Because I actually think we need more older people in alt spaces. I think that we need more people outside the norm in alt spaces. But if your idea of counterculture is conservatism, dare I say, you might have misunderstood the point of being gothic and emo in the first place. And that's just my opinion. That's just, I feel like at that point, you're not really being goth at all. And you don't know what you're doing. You're just wearing black clothes. And unfortunately, anybody can throw on some black clothes. Someone said cringe shouldn't be reserved for just the richest people. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Someone said they're 55 in punk. Yeah, exactly. If you are 50, look, this is not me saying Elon Musk is too old to wear black and have a cool black aesthetic. Recently in my life, I've been catching some flack for the way that I present myself because I have shifted towards a more alt aesthetic. And I feel like when I say catching some flack, I'm literally talking about like the oldest people imaginable sitting at IHOP just staring at me. Like if they stare at me hard enough, I'm going to leave. So it's not really something that you need to feel sorry for me about, but kind of being the target of being made fun of because of the way that I dress and stuff. When I say Elon Musk is cringe for the way that he dresses and presents himself, it's not because I think that you should only dress and present yourself a certain way if you pass a certain age. It's because the reason that the katana stuff went viral in the first place is because this is a type of guy. This is a type of person. When you do present yourself this way, you are literally also sharing a mindset and a behavioral pattern. And that is what I think people are reacting to. If every fedora guy was actually such a nice person and every katana wielding, guy was actually not weird, about things, I don't think we would have a fedora guy meme. But I just think it's a fact that it's so predictable that someone like Elon Musk would wind up falling into this. It's just so dumb. Someone said all aesthetics, no substance. Exactly. So yeah, no, I'm not down with making fun of the way that people look, but I'm completely down with making fun of the way people act. And if the way that you look is an extension of that, or like says a lot, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. 44 goth light these days, but I've been alt since my freshman year of high school. Let's go. We need more older people in alt spaces. We need more people of color in alt spaces. We need more of us. Okay. That was actually something I was really excited to come back to YouTube with, like, kind of like the tats and the clothes and the piercings, because I want to be a very visible black alt person. I want to be a black dude wearing some weird clothes and doing some strange modifications, because I feel like it's just very underrepresented. I don't know why, because we're out here, we're doing it. I don't know why we're so underrepresented. It's annoying, because then it's like you kind of catch flack from like everyone. You kind of get ostracized from people within your own community and outside of the community, and it's like, but I just thought it was a cool color. Oh no. What's going on here? Someone said, I thought you didn't mess with the term people of color. I don't think I've ever said that. I love the term people of color. Listen, I don't know enough political theory to know if that's the best way of referring to people of color, but I love the term people of color. Why? Because I'm a colorful person. I feel like it's like it has like solidarity, I think, among people who don't benefit from white privilege, I guess, is the reason I like the term people of color. Yeah, I'm not one of those people who's like, don't call me a person of color. Now, I would say, like, don't call me like colored. Here in the United States specifically, I would say that's a pretty loaded term. Now, granted, you have to be conscious of other places. There are actually other places where calling someone colored is not racist at all. You know what I mean? There are places where that's just a term that people self-identify as. But I would say here in the US, you can just call me black. That's what I prefer. If you have to refer to my race, I'm black and I'm very proud of it. I prefer capital B personally, but I'm not even offended. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Someone said Tyla is from South Africa. Yeah, I think I got educated about the term colored through Tyla saying that was not an offensive term to her. And I was like, I love knowledge. I love learning about people from other places. Personally, I don't find the term African American to be... I'm neutral. I'm so neutral on the term African American, but I still prefer black, mostly because while I absolutely am grateful for all the obvious African ancestry that resulted in me the way that I am, black culture is the culture that I was born into. Black American culture. That's my people. That's us. African culture is also real and its own thing that you would have to separately educate yourself about. And I do. But in doing so, I'm like, whoa, this is something else. So I said African American can be just so inaccurate. It is, yeah, too, because unfortunately, like, I don't think people realize how much of a privilege it is to have, like, even a complete grip on your ancestry. Like, if you even can name your ancestors and know where they were from, good for you. That's pretty cool. I think a lot of Black Americans, or me specifically, I don't know. And that's why it's so important to me to have solidarity with the people that are around me, because those are the only ones I got. I can't really point to like, yeah, those were my, you know, ancestors from so and so. No, that being said, as a Black person, one thing that I really had to educate myself on, and one thing that I had to let go of, was I had a lot of shame over my ancestors being slaves. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with necessarily like that being painful. But I wanted to be like, no, I am completely like divorced from slavery, has nothing to do with me. You know, it produced the environment that created me, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. But I don't know. I hit a certain point and I kind of realized, like, I think it's actually really important that me tracing back my ancestry stops at slavery. I can't go back further than that because I don't know who came from where, but it's like, that's an important part of our story. You know what I mean? I just think, like, I had to kind of forgive myself. Why was I mad? Because history was so awful. You know, I don't know. I feel like any level of anti-blackness that lives within my heart, I've really had to seek that out and eradicate it. And I didn't realize that me being so averse to ever hearing about slavery was also, for me, a form of anti-blackness, because I didn't like it being part of the black experience, but it is, period. My ancestors were slaves. It's a neutral thing. Y'all's ancestors might have been from Ireland, and that's dope. Mine were enslaved. They were enslaved people, but they were enslaved people who lived. They kept at it. They stayed here until we could progress far enough to where I am so far removed from that. And so I think I've had to become proud of my ancestors surviving slavery. Yay. That's just my personal little bit of growth as a black person. I'm reading chat right now. A lot of people are talking about this. Yeah, no, that's I think, like, it's a tricky scenario. Someone said they lived and they were people. Yeah, exactly. Now, granted, I'm still finna be annoyed when, like, you're presenting me black stories and they're still about slavery in the year 2026, because I'm just kind of like, now, how come the only time we're out here, you know, winning literary awards and film awards and getting our artwork validated by white audiences is when we come to you in chains? That bothers me. So I don't think I love how, like, other people react to slavery being a part of the black experience. It really, really does bother me that, like, people are still so clamorous for that line of thinking. That is odd to me. It's odd, right? I just put a little asterisk next to that and I move on with my life. Someone said, did you watch Sinners? I love Sinners. Sinners was so good. I love Sinners specifically because I feel like it's about black joy. I think that's the thing that I want to see more of. Listen, I do know, no spoilers for Sinners. There's a lot of suffering in that movie. There's a lot of suffering in Sinners, but I love that the core idea of the movie, and it wasn't just black people either. There was all kinds of people in that movie. It was like, look at how music brings us so much joy. I think that that's why everyone loves Sinners, because we are so ready for joy. In my opinion, I am so tired of just dying in the end, you know what I mean, and suffering through everything all the time. I wanted to see people happy and dancing. I didn't realize how much I needed it until I watched Sinners. And since then, I've actually become much more critical about, like, what are these stories about if they're getting really popular outside of, you know, the black community? Why are y'all excited? So yeah, seeing people excited to see us have fun in Sinners, dope. Big fan. I love it. Someone said joy and success. Exactly. Yeah. No, I was such a big fan of that movie. Less trauma, more joy. Because that's the thing. Y'all, there's trauma enough. We got enough trauma. There's enough slavery stories. Okay. That's just my opinion. Someone said the Irish dancing had me gobsmacked. Well, I think that was the thing that I liked the most about Sinners, was that, like, I see it as a film about solidarity, right? Or, like, I guess understanding the universality of many of the same forces that have put us at a disadvantage have also put other people at a disadvantage, right? I wasn't going into Sinners thinking about people in Europe who have also been disadvantaged by imperialism and stuff like that. But I came away from it thinking more about other people who weren't me. And to me, I'm like, that is a crazy level of storytelling. That is cinema right there. I feel like my chat froze a little bit. We might be lagging, but it's fine. It's fine. Someone said just more stories, more variety. We have a lot of experiences and ideas. Exactly. Variety. Give me the full range of everyone's experience. That's what I want. I'm so interested in everything. I don't know. That's just me. Sinners was amazing and anyone that didn't like it has terrible media literacy is just racist. Argue with your grandma about it? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I wouldn't say that if you don't like Sinners, you're racist. Publicly. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I wouldn't say that publicly on this channel officially. I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't agree with that publicly. People cannot like things. That's just my opinion. Because I'm not finna let y'all drag me. Not y'all. I know y'all aren't gonna drag me, but some sort of haven't seen it yet. I don't want to pirate it. Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing. Like, one thing I've been trying to really let go of was trying to catch things as they happen. That's one thing that I learned in 2025. Even if everybody is popping off talking about like Sinners, for example, I don't have to immediately drop everything and try to join the zeitgeist. Is that how you say that word? Things still have value even after people stop talking about them. And so I felt a lot less pressure to be that person who always has to see everything and also has to know everything. Like, if you haven't seen Sinners, I'm not going to sit here and be like, how have you not seen that yet? What? It's fine. You could watch Sinners next year and it will still be a banger movie. You know what I mean? I feel like slowing down and stepping away from that cycle of everything that's popular and happening right now, you're going to be so much happier. You're going to be such a chill person. Don't let anybody pressure you into feeling like you have to have seen something just because everyone is talking about it. That's just my opinion. Sinners is very timeless too. It is. I didn't think we would have a segment of me talking about Sinners, but I would give that movie all the hype. Because here's another thing. Let me drink some water. A lot of times when I notice a lot of people saying things are very good, they're not very good. I'm not going to name names because the things that I'm thinking about are very, very popular. So I'm just going to wind up pissing people off by insulting their favorite media. But I notice, actually, if a lot of people are saying something is good, that's usually a sign that I'm not going to like it. So when I sat down to watch Sinners, I was like, I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Ryan Coogler. I like vampires. I like the idea of Sinners, but this is so popular. I was like, this can't be good. This can't be a good movie. This must be mid. I know that this is overhyped. And I sat down and I watched that and I came away and I was like, y'all appropriately rated it. The internet appropriately rated a movie. They didn't overrate Sinners and they didn't underrate Sinners. I think Sinners was exactly as good as people said it was. I don't think it was the greatest movie of all time, but I didn't see people saying that. I saw people saying it was really, really fun. And their favorite thing that they had watched in a little while. And I'm like, I was so nice to watch something popular and not feel like a contrarian loser. I always feel so contrarian when people are telling me like this music is really good. And I put it on and I'm like, is it? I hate feeling like a contrarian. Someone said vampires. Well, I mean, you know, if you haven't seen Sinners, you should just go watch it. Oh my gosh. Someone said, are you talking about a certain superhero movie? No, hold on. I'm not going to sit here and crap on your favorite superhero movie. You know why? Because I'm going to sit here and knock all superhero movies. I'm sorry. I am sorry. After when did Avengers Endgame come out? I don't even feel like I should have to look this up because I did watch that movie so many times. Oh my gosh, here's me trying to type again. Avengers Endgame, 2019. I don't think that there's been I personally don't think there's been a great superhero movie in the last 7 years, in my opinion. That's just me. I'm not trying to be one of those bros who's like, yeah, popular media, not a fan of it. I'm just like, that was the last time I was sat. I was seated, y'all. I was in the theater shook. People were in the theater crying. People were in the theater crying over a superhero movie, and I think it was worth it. I agreed with the level of hype that Avengers Endgame had, because I was also that hyped for it. Never recaptured. No matter how many shows they put out, some of which are fine. They're literally fine. No matter how many movies they put out, they never actually got back to that feeling of Avengers Endgame. So I know a lot of people like to be like, oh, Superman was bad, or this new Marvel was bad, or this was... I don't actually really think Marvel or DC are really putting out bad movies. I just don't think anybody is putting out anything that was as hype as Avengers Endgame, in my opinion. That's just me. But if you would like to know, I liked the Superman movie. I thought it was so cute. I was shook by how cute the movie was. I also like that at one point in the movie, he says something along the lines of like, a country shouldn't have to be perfect for like its citizens to deserve protection, or something like that. And I was like, I think it's so important for something like that to be in theaters. I think that is such an important message for people to hear right now, when people are just acting the dumbest I have ever seen them over, not understanding like why people feel the way that they do about Palestine, for example, or all these things. I was like, wow, for that to have like not actually mentioned any sort of world conflict, I felt like that was a very pointed and awesome message. I feel like stop focusing on like the nitty gritty of what governments are doing or other organizations that represent people or whatever, and just put the people first. I was like, that was pretty dope. I thought that was awesome. Someone said, what about Spider-Verse? Wait. I might have to take my opinion back. Hold on. When did Spider-Verse come out? Was that after Avengers Endgame? Because wait, they were both kind of good. Can I say that Spider-Verse doesn't count? Because I don't want to be wrong. Can I say Spider-Verse, because it's animated, it's not the kind of thing that I'm talking about? Because here's the thing. Hold on. This is cope because I'm wrong and you're right. But I'm about to explain why I'm right and you're wrong. Hold on. Animated superhero movies have always been better. Am I missing something? Y'all ever watch a DC animated superhero movie? Those are bangers each and every time. What are you talking about? Those are so good. So I feel like that was never in the cards. DC animated movies are already so far above the live action movies. And obviously, like, Spider-Verse is not DC, but you get what I'm saying. Animated movies, superhero movies have always hit so hard that I'm like, that's not even disproving what I'm saying. It is, obviously. I got to concede. But no, that's just part of my other theory, which is that we should have left this in the realm of animation, because those movies be hitting, okay? So D'Angelo likes Megamind. Again, yay. I love Megamind. I get a lot of the inspiration for the way I present myself from Megamind. Yeah. When he said, what's the difference between a bad guy and a supervillain? Presentation. I watched that as a child and I realized, like, oh, there's an art form to being iconic. So now I always focus on my presentation. Megamind was an important life lesson for me. Spider-Verse isn't Disney, as a lot of people have said. Yeah, I do think things not being Disney works in their favor, personally. Because I feel like Disney Disneyfies everything. I don't know what I mean by Disneyfy, but I know that I'm right. Excuse me. Pixar movies before Disney Well, okay, hold on. Most Pixar movies came after Disney, but like immediately after Disney bought Pixar, the movies that were coming out still felt like Pixar movies, right? But as Pixar started kind of like aging into a Disney property, I feel like Pixar movies started feeling more and more Disney-ish. And I really am not getting Pixar vibes from the average Pixar movie. And that's kind of how I also feel about Star Wars, where I was like, Star Wars felt very its own thing. But now if I think about Star Wars, it feels so Disney-ish to me. I'm like, yeah, that's totally a Disney property. And I think it's the same thing for Marvel and all this stuff. So that's the reason monopolies suck. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously there's so many reasons monopolies suck, but monopolies suck creatively so bad, man. They're so bad for creativity. I hate it. Pixar is really in their dark era. I know. I try to be careful about the way I talk about kids movies because I do feel like there is a level of hating on kids movie that I think gives loser vibes. Like if you're literally like, Pixar is not catering to me, a 27-year-old person making YouTube videos, it comes across kind of crazy because I'm like, these are kids movies for children and babies. But I don't think it's wild to say that Pixar used to be a lot more watchable for everybody, and now they are very kid focused all the time. I think like when I watch like The Incredibles, for example, as an adult, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot here about relationships and trust and like making it work and dishonesty and what it does to people and trying to recapture things that you feel like you've lost and balancing your family with it. I'm like, there is so much in The Incredibles for an adult to get. But then I think about like, say, I recently watched Elio, which is a really cute movie. It was so cute, but I was like, wow, there's nothing here for me. There's nothing here for me. Someone said, what about K-pop Demon Hunters? Bro, I just like people being excited about music. K-pop Demon Hunters is really fun because everybody's just excited about, well, it's in the title. I enjoy the fact that K-pop Demon Hunters is as ridiculous as it sounds. And I'm not saying ridiculous in a bad way at all. K-pop Demon Hunters is so campy. It's a girl group fighting demons, fighting a boy band. Wait, I don't want to spoil anything. It's just a girl group fighting demons, and it's that silly. It has a lot of heart, obviously. It has a lot of heart. So I'm not just saying like it's an empty movie, but I'm saying I love that it sticks to its silliness. I'm really tired of everything being serious all the time. So we love magical girls. Magical girl is a great genre. You used to watch Madoka Magica. It's crazy that Huntrix has become the biggest animated virtual group since Gorillaz. Well, that's because Huntrix, like, it's made up of musicians. That's the thing that I feel like people may not know. But like Ray Ami, Audrey Nuna, and who was the third member of Huntrix? Is it... Hold on, I don't want to mess anything up. Sorry, you're seeing that I'm a fake fan, but she's also amazing, okay? All three of these people were already in the industry. They were already making awesome music. And so I feel like if you try to assemble, I guess, a bunch of actors, Jay, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you. I knew somebody would catch me. If you're trying to assemble a bunch of actors to make like a girl group, a fake girl group for a movie, it's going to be really, really lame. But I think assembling three talented musicians to make a girl group that is an actual group because they do perform as Huntrix, that's why it's pretty cool. Someone said, rest in peace. I know League is a joke, but they legit locked in with KDA, who are voiced by legit artists. Well, KDA is awesome, though. I mean, in general, League of Legends music is cracked. Like, have you ever heard some of the stuff on the Arcane soundtrack? It's cracked, but I have a really unpopular opinion about Arcane that might get me jumped. I I have kind of an unpopular opinion about Arcane. I like season 1. Season 2? No. I'm sorry. They lost me. I have never been, not never. I'm doing the YouTube thing where I'm like, I have never been, rarely have I been lost as hard as going from season 1 of Arcane, which I felt was a very tightly controlled story. And I felt like all the emotional beats were hitting. They made sense. Everything happened exactly where it should have happened. And I thought Arcane season 1 was awesome. And then when I click into season 2, and I'm like, oh, okay, so pacing, that's just an afterthought. That's not something we do around here. We don't pace things. When I was like, oh, okay, trying to put emotional moments where they were actually going to be impactful. Now we're just going to be spamming the emotional moment button until you're tired and bleeding from your eyes. I was like, bro, what happened? What happened? I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed with Arcane season 2 because I guess the thing that I liked about the first one was I felt like it was restrained, even though it's a fantastical world and League of Legends is very overwhelming. I don't play League, right? I'm not interested in playing that because the people who play League of Legends are terrifying. And actually, some of them have problems. I don't even think League fans, y'all can't afford to get mad at me for saying that. Why are you mad? You played one game for 2,500 hours, okay? So I knew that League is dangerous for someone like me. It's not good for me. That's why I have avoided League of Legends in general. And so when Arcane showed up, I wasn't really super interested in it because I was like, I don't care about League of Legends. How am I going to get into these characters? How am I going to get into this story? But they did such a good job of making it accessible to people who are not already familiar with what's going on. When we got into season 2, I felt like we veered super hard into like, this must make more sense if you're more familiar with the world of League of Legends. That's just kind of how I felt. No, I did not love season 2, but that's just me. Someone said you play one game for 2,500 hours. I mean, like, if you add together the time that I played Xenoblade 1, 2, 3, and X, I probably have played for 1,000 hours across the Xenoblade franchise. So I can't knock anybody for playing one game for 1,000 hours. There's just those franchises that hit. Someone said it does not make sense. Signed, chronically ill League player. Okay, see, I kind of was like, this pacing can't be good for anybody. It's definitely not good for me who's not a fan. But yeah, to even hear, even for League fans, the pacing kind of got away from you. That's exactly how I felt. Someone said, are we talking about The Last of Us season 2 or Arcane? Oh, buddy. I have 5,000 hours in The Sims 4. Oh, that's wild. That's another thing. I don't play The Sims on purpose. I don't play Stardew Valley on purpose. I don't play League of Legends, as I said. I don't play World of Warcraft. What else? There's just certain games that I purposely do not get into because I see the level of dedication and I'm like, I don't want that for me. I love that for y'all. I don't want that for me because I know what's going to happen to me. Someone said, do you have a favorite game? Final Fantasy 13 is my favorite game. I don't think it's a good game. At all, actually. But I think Final Fantasy 13 is far and away my favorite game. Hold on, I'll show you why. If my capture card stops acting stupid, please capture. Is it too much to want the capture card to... Oh, there we go. If I was complaining, no, I wasn't. Okay. This is the coolest game ever. And the reason is because it committed to an aesthetic that is very hard to pull off called maximalism. Final Fantasy 13 is so ridiculously try hard in every single aspect. Okay, there's even some things in this game that I think are not okay. I think actually the way some of the characters are depicted, I can't even vouch for. But it's such a ridiculous game with such beautiful music and such heart, honestly, that it's my favorite. As much as I love Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a close second, as much as I love Metaphor, ReFantazio, and a lot of Atlas games, Final Fantasy 13 will always take the cake for just being so ridiculous. Lightning is like the coolest protagonist ever. She's too cool to be real. I think she veers into the territory of not even being a good role model because you could never possibly be that cool. And yet, when I was, how old was I when this game came out? Let me see. FF13 release date. 2009. Okay, so I was 11. Yeah, I was 12 essentially when I really got into this. 12-year-old boy just essentially being shown the coolest girl ever. I never grew out of it. That's the thing. You think you would hit a point where you'd be like, well, this is so ridiculous. Nah, bro. I still listen to, because here's the thing about me, right? I know we're not supposed to be vouching for Spotify. This is not a Spotify vouch, okay? However, they did show me, they did show me the things I was listening to on Spotify in my Spotify Wrapped. I didn't post it publicly because I didn't really feel like giving them credit for stuff like that. However, I want y'all to look at some of my top songs of 2025 because I did still use the service in 2025. Hold on, wait. I'm doing a bad job of showing you. I don't have Spotify in this computer. Here, you're not going to be able to make this out clearly. But if you're wondering, like, are those all Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack? Yes. Oh, I started playing it by accident. We're going on 13, 14, 15, 16 years since I first heard the Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack. And I'm just still playing the absolute crap out of it. So I can't sit here and lie. It's campy. The gameplay is not really fun at all. The characters are not written well. The designs are clunky. Final Fantasy 13 is my favorite game. That's just me, bro. That's just me. Someone said, oh, wow, you know ball. No, I mean, like, here's the thing. And then I'll move on because I realize I've been talking about video games for a while. I could go deep. Like, my knowledge is not wide, but it is deep. And so I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but the small portion of things I do know about, I know a lot about them. I could tell you a lot about Square Enix, Final Fantasy's history, and kind of like who they used to make games for, who they're making games for now, why a lot of people don't like those games, and what I would like from Square Enix in the future. I can tell you a lot about Japanese RPGs in general, the whole genre. Do you want to talk about Dragon Quest? Do you want to talk about Tales of Arise? You know what I mean? I could do that all day. I could explain to you the difference between Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. They're not the same thing, even though they have pretty much the same gameplay in certain aspects. Like, I could explain why certain things that Atlas does makes them more interesting than Square Enix sometimes, but then Square Enix has these other things that are iconic. Like, I could have been a JRPG channel. I could talk about the composers. We could talk about Yoko Shimomura. We could talk about Masashi Hamauzu. We could talk about Nobuo Uematsu. Like, so many. I just have so much knowledge about this thing that doesn't matter at all. Because it's my hyperfixation and has been for a long time. I think Japanese RPGs has been my hyperfixation for ever and probably always will be. But that is why I never talk about them. I never talk about them. You don't want to hear me start talking about how I believe Masashi Hamauzu introduced a jazzy component to the Final Fantasy soundtrack that the newer soundtrack, despite Yoko Shimomura's awesome work, for example, in like 15, would benefit from, to bring back some of that thing that makes it feel like Final Fantasy. You don't want that breakdown. You don't want to hear me talking about how the orchestral version of Simple and Clean by Utada Hikaru is one of the greatest pop song to orchestral songs of all time. You don't even want me to sit here and start talking about Utada, because we will actually be here all day. You want to talk about Simple and Clean? You want to talk about one of her most recent tracks with Kenshi Yonezu for I want to say it was for Chainsaw Man, which I'm not even a Chainsaw Man fan. I'm just an Utada fan. You want to talk about Japanese pop music, Japanese jazz, Japanese honestly folk music. Not folk music so much as like acoustic folk, instrumental stuff. We could get into niche people. I could tell you about Hiroyuki Sawano, who did a lot of music for Attack on Titan, which I would say he's primarily known for, but then also did a really great soundtrack for Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I think is underrated. I love his trademark sound. You don't want that, because that's when the streams stop being 3 hours long. That's when the streams start being 6 hours long. This is when they start being 8 hours long. Okay? I know a lot about these things that don't matter at all. I have really strong opinions. Someone said Utada goes by they, them, gentle reminder. Oh yeah, thank you. Actually, I love Utada's visibility in general of just being like coming out as non-binary later in life. Hold on, wait. For those of you who aren't familiar, for those of you who may not be familiar, one of the most iconic, currently active, I would say, J-pop singer-songwriters would definitely be Utada. And I want to say they actually came out when they were in their like late 30s or something like that. And I found that to be, as non-binary, I'm not being clear, coming out as non-binary, and I found that to be really, really inspiring, because I do think I had been presented a vision of non-binariness that like I had never seen a vision of it that I understood, and that kind of made me think like, oh, maybe I must not be this thing that I feel like I am, but I don't know. But then kind of seeing like Utada and the way that they present themselves, and how like you only have to change the things that are important to you to change, like your pronouns or this, that, the other, but you can present yourself however you want. And you can present yourself one way for however long and then tell people who you are now. Like, I think things like that are just so important. That's why I'm always saying, like, we need older people in every space. We need older people in all the spaces. Please. Please. Someone said Kokona from XG just came out as non-binary. I saw that too. Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, I won't call them a girl group now, right? But all the groups, all the visibility, it's always better. It's always better. Someone asked, do I like XG? Do I know about Kokona? I don't really listen to a lot of music made by like groups. But that being said, I did totally see that they came out, which I was really, really happy for them. Here, I'll show you that too. Boo, 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 boo. So we have another bald icon, dare I say. They were a member of what? I didn't know it was Fruit. Wait, I shouldn't say that immediately after saying someone came out. Don't clip that out of context. Okay. Yeah, so they're still a member of a group, XG, but very, very early in their career, they came out recently as non-binary, trans masculine, I believe. And I just thought that was such an indicator that we've made so much progress. That would have like ruined your career. I definitely, during my lifetime, that would have completely ruined your career. You want to do that so early on when your group is really, 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 really popular. But seeing them able to be like, this is who I am and this is how I present myself, and they were actually supported. That was part of the thing that they said too, was like, they had support from their family, from their manager, from their fellow group members. And then I also saw the fans being supportive as well. I was like, that is why I don't believe that we live in hell all the way. I believe that even though the beginning of this stream was very depressing, and we're talking about all these, sorry, give me 1 second. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to sneeze and then I'm like, or was that just a bad vibe I got? I started thinking about Elon Musk and immediately thought I was going to sneeze and die. Anyways, despite all the negative things that were in the beginning of the stream, and despite the world being the way it is, we live in these times right now where a prominent musician can come out as a member of the LGBT community, more specifically, can come out as like a new presentation and ask people to respect them, and it happens. It's not them getting dropped by their label. It's not a bunch of people being hateful as the loudest voices. I'm like, we are making progress, okay? We're also moving backwards. I'm not silly. I'm not naive. I'm not dumb. But I always do want you to remember, we are making progress. It's not something to be completely, pessimistic about all the time. This never, ever, ever would have happened when I was younger. Honestly, I don't think this would have even happened when I started off on YouTube. Like 7 years ago, this would have been a much different story. Okay. We're making progress and we're trying. Someone said the dying empire lashes out in its throes. Well, I've said this before, and I still believe this. Everything that's happening right now, despite the fact that it's being normalized, despite the fact that transphobia and hate has been normalized, it's still not normal, and we are going to look back at it as abnormal. I don't know how long it's going to take, and I would prefer it happens sooner rather than later. Don't ever let these people convince you that you are like the wrong one or the deviant one or this, that, the other. It is like deeply perverted to actually try to prevent somebody from being happy and healthy. That is that's the thing that we're going to look back and be like, that was really sick. That was genuinely like demented. It's not now, unfortunately. I would prefer if it was in my lifetime, but like that's the main thing I always remember about all this nasty transphobia and stuff like that. We're gonna look back and be like, what was that? What was that? Did people really do that? I hope we're not all dead. I hope we don't have to all die before this happens, but there are going to be a group of generations looking back and being like, that is gross that there was legislation preventing people from being happy and stuff like that. But I'm just holding out till we get there. Okay? That's all I can do. I can never, ever, ever allow this forced normalization of hatred to actually become my normal. It's not going to happen. As long as I myself within myself can be like, this isn't right, we'll be fine. Someone said, I feel like it's a psyop. Society was never this transphobic, right? Society was never this transphobic. Society has never been more misogynistic publicly, I think, in my lifetime. And transphobia is its own thing, obviously. But I think like the hatred against femininity right now, I think, is so insanely peak that it's spilling out into these other things. And that's why a lot of times when you hear transphobic discourse, so much of it is rooted against trans women. This is not me saying like people have it easier than this, that, the other, but it's literally just like the absolute all-time levels of rejection of anything that is feminine or anything right now. I feel like that's what's peaking, and that's why it explains almost anything. Like, yes, people are also just transphobic, by the way. I'm not saying transphobia is not its own separate issue. I really hope I'm being clear right now. But it's not lost on me that it's just kind of telling people like, how dare you be a woman? How, someone said intersectionality. Yeah, how are you going to be an how are you going to be an intersectional bigot? We're literally noticing intersectionality between forms of bigotry, where because people hate women, now we're going to hate trans women, and because people hate black people, we're going to hate black women. And then you have like black trans women being such a vulnerable group at this point. So it's like it feels everything is intensifying itself. If any of these things was a problem in a vacuum, it would still be horrible. If just in a vacuum, people randomly decided like, oh, there's this one group of people that we don't like, then that would suck, obviously. But I feel like that would be a lot easier to fight. If it was just like, we don't like people who do this one thing, it's not that hard to point out and be like, that is a silly way of going at things. But if you're like, I just reject the idea of women in general, therefore I reject any shifts towards femininity in any person, no matter how they were born, therefore I am transphobic, and also by extension I have this hatred for all members of the LGBT, like, that's why it just feels like this weird big ball of hate, because all the switches have just been put up towards 11. And that's also why I gave up on trying to rationalize or reason with people. I'm not tolerant anymore of differing opinions. Different opinions that differ on certain things. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure out, well, are you like 50% misogynistic and like 30% transphobic with like 20% anti-black, and that is why you hate this person today? I'm bored. Let's just skip to the part where you no longer have any sort of power. And whatever I have to do to make sure that happens, let me do it. Gosh. Someone said, I just got here. What's the context? We're just talking about hateful people being hateful people, and how like the hate is just hating. It's giving negative. So said, are you looking at the barrel of the camera, aka my soul? I purposely put the camera so close to the comments. Like, here, this is me reading comments, and this is me looking at you. Because it feels like me looking like this, I still feel like I'm looking at you. Someone said trans men, I'm saying this as someone who's trans mask, are invalidated and ignored, whereas trans women are outwardly harassed and ostracized. It's two different types of discrimination. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I believe actually that when a lot of people talk about discrimination, they try to equate things too much, when the simplest way of looking at it as it's just multiple things. So like, for example, if I start saying certain things are bad for men, for example, in general, like, oh, hey, society has this issue that I think is negatively affecting men. If you start framing this in the context of, well, like, society also has these like 50 million issues per one issue that are affecting women, it just gets really, 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 really complex. And that's why people will try to play a game with you of like shifting things in one direction or the other. But I really just think like looking at things individually, we can talk about all of it. So many things can be true. Society can have problems that they do think are negatively affecting men. And I can still feel like, well, I should be putting the majority of my effort into making sure I'm not propagating misogyny and like disenfranchising women, because that's a lot easier to do with the way the systems have been set up. But that also does not mean there's no issues that certain people face. And it's the same thing with like trans men. Like, even if you're not facing the exact same form of discrimination that you're seeing trans women get, that doesn't mean you need to be excluded from the conversation or anything like that. I really do feel like there are so many text boxes on the internet. There's so many videos. There's so many opportunities to talk about something. So yeah, no false equivalencies, but no rejection as well. I want to talk about all of the issues. Invisibility, invalidation, all of that is just so ridiculous. Two things can be true at once. Oh wait, did somebody mention Dochi? Don't get me started there. I love Dochi, and y'all are wild. Y'all are wild. Actually, hold on. Here, you're gonna get a mini D'Angelo Wallace video right now. Do you want it? Do you want a mini D'Angelo video about Dochi? With no outline. With no outline. Okay, hold on. Hi, my name is D'Angelo, and this video is about Dochi, the rapper, and why I think a lot of y'all aren't even hiding. Y'all aren't even hiding the anti-blackness at this point. Okay, cool. Let's go here. That's not Dochi. That is a different rapper. Dochi, I personally believe, is one of the most talented, top 3 active rappers right now, not active female rappers. I don't do the whole female rapper. No, she is out writing, I believe, 97 other people in a room. You could put her in a room with any amount of rappers. She has been active musically for a while, but recently she really started popping off with like high profile performances. She had a Tiny Desk that was amazing and stuff like that, right? Doechii frequently talks about being, you know, a dark skinned black woman in her music, obviously, right? I saw this happen in real time and I was offline, so I couldn't talk about it, but I was so annoyed. She has this track called Anxiety that she made a long time ago. And some of her fans really liked that track. And they were like, oh, Doechii, you should release Anxiety. Doechii, please release Anxiety officially. We love this track. It's so good. And so quite literally, as just like giving it to her fans, she drops the song Anxiety because the internet would not shut up about it. All this discourse turns into the song Anxiety by Doechii is so annoying. Oh my gosh, why are they still playing Anxiety by Doechii? Anxiety is not even a good song. Why is it sampling someone I used to know? This is so played. We don't like Doechii. And I literally witnessed in real time it go from, oh, Doechii, please release the song, to the masses being like, actually, we don't even really mess with Doechii anyway. It's just kind of annoying. Do you find her annoying? The threshold for which we start calling people annoying is so... Excuse me. The threshold for which we start calling people annoying is so heavily tied to your, I would say, gender. It's like, it's so obviously transparent. I don't think a woman has to do much beyond breathe before she starts veering into annoying territory. And once you are an annoying woman, all bets are off. You know what I mean? I actually saw this article from Ranker. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up really fast. Ranker, most hated celebrities. Okay, I found it. So, you know, I do think too that when people talk about, or like when guys go online and like talk about women and the way that society treats women and stuff like that, you commonly get hit with like the white knight allegations or whatever, or like, oh, why are you being a white knight, or why are you trying to be like performative or whatever. Bro, I have eyes. So we're here on Ranker, in which 1.4 million people voted for the most disliked celebrities of 2025. Number 1, Diddy. Okay. Yeah. Right? Andrew Tate, Bill Cosby, Chris Brown, right? Jake Paul, Danny Masterson. Was it a rape conviction, right? If I remember correctly. Well, I don't want to just say that when I don't know that. But I think I actually remember talking about that in the video. I believe. Hopefully I did not. Yeah, multiple allegations of sexual assault from 4 different women. Okay. Right. So you have people like this on this list. Listen, y'all. Why do we go from rapists, groomers, and Nazis, Kanye West, immediately to Ellen DeGeneres? I don't care. I made a whole video about Ellen DeGeneres. I don't like her. And also, I never said this publicly. She copyright claimed that video. It was really annoying. But I don't think she's a great person at all. And if you want to hear me criticizing her, go watch that video again. I am hypercritical of Ellen DeGeneres and everything she stands for. Why is she on this list under Kanye, Woody Allen, who groomed, I believe, like his stepdaughter or something like that? And like rapists, okay? People, the level of vitriol that they bring, I feel like. And then James Charles, you deserve to be there. Actually, James Charles needs to go away. He really deserves to be there with all this like constant nasty stuff that he does. Okay, then you've got like James Corden, Meghan Markle, right? If you look at some of the people that these are about, why is Meghan Markle more hated than Jay-Z? What am I missing? I know that this isn't like I hope this doesn't come across as me saying like no one on this list is a bad person. It's just so obvious that once you are annoying, Meghan Markle, a lot of people find her really annoying. And that doesn't mean there's nothing to criticize. Obviously, Ellen DeGeneres, the things she does are annoying. It's annoying to be mean to people, right? I don't think that should land you on the same list as Diddy. And I don't think I'm a simp or a white knight for saying it. I think that there were so many other celebrities that could have probably been sandwiched between rapists and women who annoy us. Okay? So I thought that like, I've been wanting to make this point for a while, by the way. I've been wanting to make this point for a while. Because the thing that I don't like, I think, is like when you have guys who present themselves as like, I'm a feminist. First of all, I am a feminist. We should all be feminists. Feminism is equal rights for women because it's equal rights for all genders. We should all be feminists. It's not even a question. However, I definitely raise my eyebrows at any guy whose core messaging is like, yeah, look how much of a feminist I am. I really want to like, I'm doing all this for you. I'm doing all this for you. I really try to frame feminism coming from men as the bare minimum. I actually think it's the bare minimum to not talk over women. I think it's the bare minimum maybe to not be sexist or just have these horrible opinions about any and everybody who is not a man. I would feel better actually saying feminism, I'm a feminist, if it wasn't something that I feel like most guys are looking for brownie points for. I don't think it's that interesting. I don't think it's that serious, and I definitely don't deserve any kudos for it. I'm not even a great feminist. I wound up here in this position because I'm trying to be rational, honestly, which is kind of funny. I feel like rationally, if you just look at the way the world is, you should wind up in feminist territory. Not because you want to be a white knight, but I mean, what's wrong with defending people? I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of wanting to defend people who are vulnerable anyway. But like using your eyes and looking at the way that people are talked about and seeing that you're going to take Meghan Markle and put her in a picture next to Diddy, and 1.5 million people are going to vote about this. It's just so transparent. So this is me, yes, from a feminist perspective, but also from a I have eyes perspective. Y'all just really hate women to a degree that is baffling. It's baffling. Okay? Yes, we need to be criticizing billionaires, even if they're women. Yes, we need to be criticizing celebrities, even if they're women. But like, no. No. This is really, truly wild. Just seeing this in person. Candace Owens, like, you can wind up on a list. You can be Meghan Markle and wind up on a list with Candace Owens because people find you annoying. It's kind of wild. People find me annoying because I am annoying. Are you kidding me? It's such a core part of my branding. It hasn't ended my career. It's actually a benefit. When you're extra, when you're doing a lot as a guy, you know, you get hyped up for it. People find it interesting, whatever. But yeah, God forbid you exhibit any annoyingness or what society deems as annoying. And so that is what happened. That is Final Fantasy 13. Hold on. What happened to my tab with Dochi? That is what happened with Dochi, where even if there are things to criticize about her, I'm not sitting here glazing celebrities and saying, I don't ever want to see y'all talking about Doechii. You can talk about a rich artist. I'm sure there's some things to say, but I witnessed her turn annoying. I witnessed her turn annoying To y'all. I don't find her annoying. I don't find her, she's not really. I witnessed her start to annoy y'all. And that is when this all turned into Doechie's overrated. Actually, we don't want to hear Anxiety. Anxiety is a horrible song. This, that, the other. So yeah, that was my mini D'Angelo video about how Doechii is a case study of the things that y'all do. And then y'all want to start compounding in the fact that, like, also being a person of color in this position, also being, you know, dark skinned, this, that, the other, like, it's not lost on me how quickly Doechii became annoying to y'all. I don't think the word annoying means anything anymore. Or I guess annoying is like the softest way to call someone a slur, I feel like, right? You can't necessarily say like, oh man, Doechii's just so loud. She's so loud. Obviously, if you're going around hitting black women with the loud label, you're going to be like, what? But you can say like, oh, Doechii's kind of annoying. Yeah, she's annoying to me. I find her annoying. You can't say like about like Meghan Markle, like, I just think she's like a B. She's such a B. Okay, yeah, if you say that, what's gonna happen? You're gonna come across as a misogynist. But if you're like, she's just really annoying, she won't go away. It's like, that's really funny because the end goal of what you're saying is the same, which is that you think this person should disappear. And granted, people can still be annoying. Ellen DeGeneres is annoying, okay? But when we're using this as a reason to constantly like, why are people annoying to you? Annoying should never, ever get you in the same running as pedophilia and rape and all these other things. Why? Let me ask you this. With the amount of men in this world that are annoying, you're listening to one right now. Why do you as a man genuinely have to run like a child exploitation ring to wind up getting any sort of criticism or actually be a Nazi? This is a level of things you have to do before people finally find you annoying as a man. Then they're going to start telling you go away. It's like, oh, okay, you know what? Go away, Bill Cosby. We don't want to hear you anymore. But all you got to do is release one too many songs, show up at one too many performances, have an interview that is a little too like weird as a woman. And then you can also wind up on the most hated celebrities list. I hope I'm clear. That's all I'm saying. It's not lost on me. I hated that list so much, but I was like, I finally caught y'all in 4K. I didn't know how to say that. I feel like annoying is a microaggression that people use against women and people of color and also queer people. I didn't know how to say that without sounding crazy, but this list finally proves it. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Anyways, I feel like, wow, I really said that. Yeah, no, y'all don't realize, like, there's been a lot of things over the past year that I just had to sit on. I had to think about how to say them. And I was working hard, even though you didn't see me posting videos and stuff like that. I was really trying to sit with my opinions and be like, how do I say, for example, I think the way a lot of men present their feminism is really weird, without it sounding like me saying like men shouldn't be feminists and I am the only valid woman defender. I had to think about it. I'm like, no, I think I can make this point. Without sounding weird. How do I say, you know, these things are true? Oh, it's essentially misogynist to call people annoying when you're doing it for no reason without validating people's right to find celebrities annoying, or without me sounding like I'm just glazing celebrities. Some opinions I have to sit with. I have to think about them. But once I figure out how to say it, or once something happens, like a list like this dropping and I see my point, I see it illustrated, I see it crystallized, I'm like, oh, I got y'all. I absolutely got y'all. So was that I met the weird feminists. Actually, can we talk about feminism a little bit? right now. Do you mind if I soft topic shift into feminism? If there is a man in your life or a man that you follow or anything like that who you sort of see as like feminist or like having good takes or whatever, stop giving him credit for it and then see what he does. That's all I'm saying. The next time you see someone who's like, oh wow, that was a great take, don't say it. The next time you see a male content creator, me, the next time you see me have a take that you think was like, oh, that was really good, yeah, he really gets it, don't even put it. Don't give me any social capital, and then see how I react. Because that is where I notice a lot of feminism starts to fall apart when it's coming from men, is like when you're not actually getting that thing that you were looking for, which was that validation and that social capital. It's kind of crazy how it goes out the window really, 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 really fast. Really fast. It leaps out the window. It jumps, it dives. I've seen it happen in real life, and I've heard it happen in conversations that I have had with men in contexts where there are no women. It's like the light goes off. Well, when you start treating what they're doing as like the bare minimum, which I believe it should be because it is. Yeah, no, I think that's the easiest way to weed out a feminist, a weird male feminist who you're like, I can't tell if this is real or not. Stop giving him credit. Ignore his feminism for a second and see what he does and then react to that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's just me. If I can give you advice from one guy to someone who may not be a guy, I've heard enough guys talk. That's all I'm saying. Some say it's the bare minimum. We need to start praising them. Stop praising them for it. That's also another thing too. Do y'all remember last year? And I don't want to get into like the nitty gritty of it because it was kind of a serious topic, but where I made a video about Cody Ko, and I said the thing that I said in the video about the allegations that were brought against him not being taken seriously because of who they were, being brought against. I had to say in an interview, I don't remember who it was. I think it was in an interview I did with Rolling Stone. Where I feel like I almost had to remind them that, like, why am I getting the majority of the credit here? Hold on, let me see. I'm Googling myself, cringe alert, D'Angelo, Rolling Stone. I feel like that was the interview maybe. Oh, I just put D'Angelo and I'm getting the singer, duh. Is a much more popular D'Angelo than me. Okay, no shade to Rolling Stone for this article, but it actually made me feel really icky. This YouTuber thinks creators need to talk about Cody Ko. And I think this is the one where I said, let me see. I said, it should have taken no additional input for Tana's story to be taken seriously. They cut out the part where I said, you shouldn't have needed a D'Angelo Wallace video for the story to pop off. That is how I try to approach any sort of like feminism, anything. I shouldn't need to be the interim. Now, because I have power and because people do listen to me, I will use that power. But it's just really, really cringe that it always kind of turns into me. Hey, it's about me now. It's about commentary YouTuber D'Angelo Wallace. And I was just like, I don't know if y'all noticed. This might be your first time finding out I was in Rolling Stone. I don't think I said it. Did I say it? I might have mentioned it offhand in like a community post, but I don't remember coming forward and telling you all. I was in Rolling Stone, Business Insider, and also NBC News cited me. And I hated the way they talked about it so much because I felt like it was so about me. It was so me, something I did. I made a video. I did the bare minimum. I did the bare minimum, and I wound up in the news. while some woman is like suffering essentially. And I was just like, that's icky. I don't know. I can't even be out here being proud of these interviews and these articles and showing them to you because I'm just like, it's really, really lopsided. So I had no idea. Yeah. I was like, I hope people don't read these articles. I hope nobody is like thinking I think I should be in Rolling Stone. Because if you want to put me in Rolling Stone, put me there because I made a cool video. Put me there because I made a cool video, not because I took somebody else's story, repeated it as a guy, and then everybody started listening. And that's the story. It was so annoying. It was so annoying. Someone said you spoke up when no one was acknowledging Cody's awfulness. Well, I'll tell you how it happened. I went to VidCon in Los Angeles, and smaller creators, really awesome creators that you do know that I'm not going to out right now, came to me and asked me if I had heard about Cody Co. It wasn't lost on me that these creators were women. They asked me like, have you heard about like Cody Co and this Tana situation? And I was like, I hadn't. I genuinely hadn't. And I was like, no, I haven't heard about this. And so I went home from VidCon because I don't live in LA. And I was thinking to myself, like, so this is something that we talk about at parties as influencers, but we don't call out publicly. Isn't this literally Hollywood? Isn't this literally how people get away with grooming in Hollywood, right? The people who told me about this, they had spoken up. They were very vocal, right? Especially when it was going down. So I was really happy that I was informed about it. But I was like, why was this something I had to go to a party and hear that Cody Co was sleeping with a minor? That is the nastiest, like most Hollywood stuff. And I was like, we're not going to turn commentary YouTube into some sort of weird, like Me Too-esque thing where we just apparently know that people are doing these things and I'm going to go home with a platform and not say anything about it. That was the part I didn't say in my video because I didn't want to sound like drama. That's kind of dramatic, right? I went to a party at VidCon and then I heard this thing about Cody Co. I left that part out because I didn't think that was useful information at the time. But yeah, that's weird. That is... people knew. And that's also why I was going really ham, really hard with the point in my video of like, y'all do know this. Y'all might not all know this and y'all might not have all known this at the same time. But I was like, if we're talking about this at VidCon parties, commentary YouTube knows that Cody Co did this. I just have no idea why it's just like, whatever. So weird. So weird. But yeah, I'm not an open secret guy. That's why you shouldn't invite me to your parties in Los Angeles. Because like I said, I'm not an LA kind of guy. I'm not going to keep your weird secret. I'm going to go home and actually tell literally everybody if I think that's the right thing to do. And I don't care how it comes across. That's just me though. Someone said that's why I don't fully trust a lot of content creators. A lot of horrible stuff just turns into inside gossip that no one actually speaks up about. Okay, here. I'm going to tell you some content creators that I would actually vouch for. Now listen, this is scary to do, okay? It's kind of scary to vouch for people on the internet because then if it winds up not being good, you wind up looking dumb, right? So I'm only going to talk about content creators that I have actually met in person that I was like, oh, this person's pretty cool. And their content is good. I only briefly, it was literally like the shortest amount of time I got to spend talking to Nikki. Coolest person ever. So cool. Genuinely exactly like what you get on YouTube is what you get in real life. Okay. Absolutely awesome, right? I would, at this point, I would totally vouch for Gabby Bell. I met Gabby in person at VidCon and it was awesome. So cool. Great content. Dare I say, great person, right? I did not get to speak to this person as much as I wish I could have, but we did a panel together and it was really neat. Funky Frogbait, they make really great videos and they were also really cool. I think the thing that I learned is, and it's not only these people, by the way, almost anybody I talk to, wait, let's see. Oh, okay, I can sort of spell. Almost anybody I talked to at VidCon did turn out to be a really cool person, right? Anna Marie makes really great videos as well, was just a really, really dope person to speak to as well. And so what I realized, I'm not just going to reject the community wholesale and just be like, okay, I don't support content creators. I'm going to wall myself off and, never collab with anybody or anything like that. But it is not enough for me to like someone's videos. That's what I've learned. Because I liked Kodiko's videos. Womp womp. So I need to like your videos and meet you in real life. I know that sounds like a lot. You're like, you need to meet me in real life to collab. Yes. Yes, I do. Because I actually believe in intuition and I believe in vibes a lot. Water's so good. We should all drink so much more of it. I need to meet content creators in real life. Or at the very least, we need to have a face-to-face call. Oh, that was also, that's also why I like Curtis Connor. It was fun. It was so fun talking to Curtis. I just think, if I'm like, now, granted, if I talk to you, I get past, I like your content as well, and then I vouch for you, and then you wind up being a lame-o, I'll take responsibility for it. I really will. But yeah, I'm no longer putting myself in positions where I'm just going to be like, yeah, I like your content and I'm going to think you're a good person because your content is good. You could be uploading the most morally fine content, dunking on all the right people and saying all the right things and just secretly be the worst person ever. So I have a really small list of YouTubers I would ever vouch for. But I don't think that these people would make me sound crazy for saying I think Curtis is a pretty great guy. I think Funky Frogbait, they're pretty cool. That's not something I feel really uncomfortable saying. I feel really uncomfortable saying that like other people are cool if I have not actually met them. I feel uncomfortable. Chad. I saw Chad for 2 seconds at VidCon. That makes me sound like a weird fan, but I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, whoa, it's Chad. Also, I feel like low key, hearing Chad talk about like being homeschooled and stuff like that. I'm like, if we ever did a collab, it should be about being homeschooled. The homeschooled YouTubers just joining together. I think I'm right when I say Chad is homeschooled, right? I'm not making things up. But yeah, if we ever did a collab, we would just talk about being homeschooled. Because I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to say about that. Yeah, I did also talk to Jarvis. We did a whole podcast together. I mean, not a whole podcast together. I was on an episode of the podcast and it was really nice. But anyways, like I see people putting a lot of other content creators in the chat right now. I'm not even going to reply. That's where I am right now. I don't trust y'all. Not you, the chatters. I don't trust content creators. Like, I don't. If I could use an example that I feel like is not going to turn into drama. I like Markiplier. I like Markiplier a lot. Even someone who I am 99% okay vouching for, I still just need that 1%. I would still just need to do like, hey, Markiplier, thank you so much for inviting me, nobody, to do a stream with you. Do you think that we could hang out for a second before that? I would still need to do that even if you were Markiplier. That is, I'm like, I am not opening myself up to vouching for people and having them turn out to be crazy anymore. As much as I like people's content, no. Even if I feel like I'm getting a lot of yourself through your content, I need that 1%. So if you ask me what I think about Markiplier, I would say I think Markiplier makes great content. I think he makes great content, and that he seems like a really cool guy. That's what I would say. I would say he seems like a really cool guy, because that is true. And do I believe that he is a really cool guy? Yeah, probably. But what I probably believe doesn't mean anything. That's what I unfortunately have had to learn time and time again. What I probably believe about some guy who seems nice doesn't mean anything. Someone said, what about Dan TDM? Same thing. Dan TDM, definitely an icon, and also seems like a really nice guy. And I leave it at that. You're not going to catch me saying like, oh, Dan TDM's a great. Seems like such a good person. Genuinely seems like such a sweet guy. And I think that's a nice thing to say. Anyways. Someone said you on Smosh Reddit stories will be so fun. Oh, y'all. Oh, wait, I realize my time is running out for this stream. Wait, that's crazy. Do I have to end in 15 minutes? Okay, hold on. I don't know how to say this. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I'm happy with how the streams have been going so far, but I'm a little self-conscious, I think, of my presentation style, because I go on a lot of tangents, and that's not always a good thing. Like, for example, I did go into this stream with a plan. I did tell you, we talked about Elon Musk and the weird stuff. There wasn't really much to say. I know I said I was going to mention Iggy Azalea, and we didn't really get there, but I feel like I hope this is good content. I hope this is good content. That's the thing that I always hope. Do y'all like the digressions? Because I always try to bring it back to the source point. You know what I mean? If I need to be like more locked in, I feel like the thing is too, if I'm really, really locked in for like a singular period of time, if you miss that part of the stream and then you join in my 4th hour, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, which is why I kind of have just spent the time generally talking about different things that float around this core idea. So I hope that this is good content. But what I'm going to, I'm going to watch it back. I'm going to put it on 2x and kind of take notes, but I think it's going pretty well. Now, as far as editing this into a video, the other thing that's really nice, I'm real good at videos. So even if like I watch back the stream and I'm like, oh, that came across really well in the stream, but I feel like this video needs some more context, I'm gonna record that context. Who you think I am? Are y'all goofy? Y'all think I'm uploading subpar content? Nah, I'm gonna fill you in. You're gonna get the full experience. But I think instead of trying to force myself to be completely locked in for a stream, when that's not how my brain works, that's not gonna be authentic stuff for you, I'm gonna be me on my streams, and then I'm gonna fill in the details after the fact. That way the VODs are fun to watch. I honestly want you to have fun for 4 hours at a time. I really do. Like, I'm obviously, if you can only catch like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, that's fine. But if you are one of those people who's still in chat from noon, I don't want you to feel like, oh, okay, we join early and then he talks about stuff and then we just drift into stuff. I want you to feel like we're hanging out. So I think it's going really well. I'm going to finagle this into a good video. Someone said, no, Diego's terrible content. That's why I'm watching. Yeah, okay. But yeah, just all this to say, and also, I will say this to my VOD watchers. I know some of y'all don't catch the stream, but then you watch the VOD later. I'm speaking to you right now. I've got you. I'm trying to be entertaining on 3 different levels. Entertaining when you watch me live, entertaining when I turn it into a video, and entertaining when you catch the live later. It's not easy, but I think I'm doing a decent job. Someone said, dude, 3,000 people have watched you for hours. Okay, wait, hold on. Can I talk about viewership for a second? I don't know how many people are watching me right now. I'll take your word for it. That's 3,000 because I have it turned off. I saw like when I came back, for example, that it was 2,000 because I had to pull it back up. But I will say this. It didn't used to be that many people. It didn't used to be that many. It's kind of scary. I think on Twitch, I used to have about 1,000 viewers concurrently, which I was fine with. But in order to maintain 1,000 viewers on Twitch, I had to be so dialed in all the time. I had to be like on, because the moment I would kind of step back a little bit from the topic on Twitch, everybody would leave. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. There's so many other things to do on Twitch. There's so many other people to watch. You know what I mean? And so I think streaming for me became this really scary thing where I'm like, if I'm not always being entertaining, everyone's finna dip. But I think just by streaming right here on YouTube, where people are already fine with me and just hearing me talk about kind of whatever, like, I feel a lot more comfortable just being relaxed. It's okay if I end a stream and like we talked about something for like a few minutes, but most of it was just hanging out. I don't feel like I'm making bad content and my channel's dying anymore. Gosh. Someone said name one other person on Twitch. I can name one other person on Twitch. No, I can't. Just kidding. So I said, I remember when you had under 300,000 subs. They said they saw me gain subs because of my most popular videos. Thank you. Actually, hold on. How many, if you remember, how many subscribers did I have when you found me? Just put it in the chat. And what year was it? Because I think I have 600,000 subscribers on this channel, right? But I've had 600,000 subscribers 2 other times. That's what some of y'all new people might not know. Baby, I got the credentials. Hold on. Stay right there. Wait, I don't even know. Oh, here they are. Okay. Just because I have 600,000 subscribers right now, that's this batch of 600,000 subscribers. Because, I mean, like, yeah, this is me talking myself right now. I mean, I already passed 1 million subscribers years ago on the D'Angelo Wallace channel. And I did that with a series of really awesome videos about the beauty community. Do y'all remember that? When I got 1 million subscribers at one time? I mean, I already passed this is upside down. I passed 1 million subscribers again when I just uploaded a bunch of like essay content about various things, you know, really long videos on a different channel. This is my baby. This is my first YouTube channel where I got 1 million subscribers. I mean, we already passed 100,000 on this channel. And if I'm being quite honest with you, we're going to pass 1 million again on this channel when, like, in a few months, they're going to send me another gold play button. I have to be honest. I have to be real with you. I've said this in my video yesterday. I'm not an OG yet, right? I've been grinding for 7 years. But when I hit that 10-year mark, y'all better call me an OG. When I hit the 10-year mark, in 3 years, it's only 3 years when I am still posting videos, y'all better call me one of the most legendary people on the platform. Because I am. How do I do it again and again? It's really crazy to think about. Like, I know people are like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of energy. He's so humble. No, I am like so good at YouTube, actually. I could have come back on another channel. But I was like, okay, hold on. Let's not push it. I think 3 gold play buttons is enough. You know, y'all ain't ever finna knock me off. I don't know. But yeah, I love my play. It's so heavy. My play button connect collection. It's so heavy. Someone said great content strategy. Yeah. I think like I do think about like the way I've moved around channels and stuff like that. I think it was because, funnily enough, as confident as I project myself, I wasn't as confident as I could have been. I didn't realize how many people did just want to watch me, I guess. I always thought that like if I start this other form of content like live streaming or something that is like not as edited or anything like that, I have to put it on a different channel. That was always my thinking. And so that's why I have so many channels, if you've ever wondered. Little did I know, I could have just done one thing in one place forever. Chat, let me ask you this. How many subscribers do you think I would have right now if I did one thing in one place forever? Now, hold on. Probably if someone hates me, they can clip this out of context and say that I'm being delusional. I personally think if I had done one thing in one place for 7 years, I think I would have 3 million subscribers. You can laugh at me. You can. A lot of you are saying 3. That's literally what I think. I've seen a lot of channels. I've seen a lot of growth over the years. I genuinely think I would have 3 million different people following me if I had done one thing. And that is a lot. But here's the reason. Here's the reason that I'm never like bitter about it. Because I'm going to have 10 million. That's the thing. That's the thing that y'all might not realize is like, no, I might not have, you know, anything crazy like that or this, that, the other. I'm sticking it out. When you are a giant channel, you know, when you're at the top of the top, it is literally because nobody could get you to stop posting videos. You just kept posting those darn videos. I call me naive. I still believe in YouTube the same way I believed in YouTube when I was 19 years old. It's so serious to me. I know people love to say it's not that deep. Nothing is deeper than this. Nothing is deeper than this. I went to college and I graduated at 19. I say it a lot. It was like my only claim to fame was graduating college at 19. And then I immediately realized I was so neurodivergent, I was never ever going to be able to hold down a real job. I realized, like, am I ever gonna move out of my parents' house? I couldn't even apply for jobs. I tried for a second, and then it started making me feel so bad when I realized that, like, I don't know. I tried so hard to get out of that gas station. I referenced the gas station that I worked at when I was 19 a lot. 19 with a bachelor's, working at a gas station within walking distance, because like being on the clock is so antithetical to me being able to produce good work. It's really scary, actually. You know what I mean? I think like I've been able to make my dysfunction work for me. I've never been in danger of being on the street. Though, actually, there have been points in my childhood where my family did not own a home. We weren't homeless. We were staying with people, but that wasn't our house. You know what I mean? I've had times in the past where I didn't know how I was even gonna live. Not in some crazy, like, dangerous, serious way. It was just like, how could there be a job that I can do sometimes and be really good at, but then when I can't do anything, the job is not gonna fire me and tell me that I essentially don't deserve any sort of financial security just because I could not be whatever it needed me to be mentally. Like, I cannot flip off, you know, the parts of my brain that are unstable. I didn't know how I was going to hold it down. That's what happened to me in college. I started off on the dean's list and still graduated with honors, but I was like dipping. At one point I failed 2 classes in one semester and I had to claw my way back into the honors program because I needed the $500 scholarship from honors. I needed the $500 scholarship. So I had to get back into the honors program because I could not afford not to have that. And so I was like, if it is this hard for me to take 5 courses, I can make up a class. You can't make up a job, right? I didn't know what I was going to do. I kind of thought that I would just be left behind, because unfortunately that's what happens to a lot of people for many reasons. Like, the systems that we live under are not conducive to people like anyone. I almost want to say people like me. They're not conducive to people like anyone. Okay? There's no circumstance in which this like 9 to 5 thing is good for anyone. So I'm not that person. I'm not sitting here telling you, yeah, quit your 9 to 5. I'm telling you, I didn't know how I was even going to get to the 9 to 5 point, because I didn't know what would happen when things got so bad I had to disappear. And the fact that I glitched into something that allows me to breathe and take care of my family, take care of my mom, honestly, like, you're not going to sit here and make me cry at the end of a live stream, so I'm not going to cry about it. What is on my face? But, that's why I'm grateful. And that's why I'm grateful. If you ever hear me saying like, thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're like, oh my gosh, shut up. No, it was this or nothing. Remember my video yesterday where I said it was either this or you don't want to know what the alternative is? I don't know what the alternative is. If you ever hear me sounding really confident about YouTube, that's why too. Because I knew YouTube could get me out of it. I didn't think that I deserved it. I wasn't 19 years old thinking, working at a gas station, uploading videos about art, thinking like, I deserve a YouTube career. I was like, I believe that YouTube can get me out of this situation. That's why I grind. I believed that YouTube would allow me to not be left behind in this world. And now, all these years later, I still believe. I believe that YouTube is what's ultimately gonna keep me going, and that's why I keep coming back. If you ever wondered, like, yeah, no, I know I can make it work. I know it can grind. We'll hit 1 million subscribers later this year, and I don't know how many million after that. It's kind of hard to predict, because like sometimes you snowball and you gain so quickly, so fast. I can't really predict it, but I definitely know someday in the future, I might be 33. I might be Jesus. What do you mean? It might be 6 years from now. You're going to see like D'Angelo, 10 million subscribers. And like, I'm just going to be so normal. You know, I'm just going to be such a normal part of the YouTube atmosphere. Well, I feel like my chat froze. Oh no, it did work. I'm going to be such a normal part of the YouTube atmosphere. Everyone's going to take it for granted. Y'all are not even going to remember 19-year-old me, and you're not even going to remember 27-year-old me. You're almost going to think I've always been there, but like, it was just because I kept grinding. So this really beautiful and insightful and so helpful to hear. Thank you. Well, okay, I will say, if I want to leave you with some insight, I do think a lot of YouTubers have a really bad habit of being like, and if I did this, anyone can do this. No. It's not that I got lucky, and it's not that I'm only here because I worked hard. I got lucky enough that my hard work actually paid off. It has always been a mix of the two. And so there is always that luck component that I do believe is needed for the algorithm. And that's why I can only say thank you. At the end of the day, no matter how much you're going to hear me talk, my mama raised me right. All I can say is thank you. Thank you for watching. I might work my behind off. It might have only been 1% luck, but I still needed that last little bit. So thank you. And that's why my advice to people who want to do content and stuff like that is like, you have to find that 1% of luck. You have to find it, because you could work as hard as you want, but if you're not actually putting yourself in scenarios where you can get lucky, it's not going to pop off. You know what I mean? If I uploaded that video all those years ago, me following a tutorial, and it didn't pop off, I would have gone back to the drawing board and tried to upload something else and get lucky again. And that's my advice to somebody who's wanting to start YouTube. Don't do it once. Want to start YouTube as many times as it takes for you to get lucky. Did your YouTube channel not take off? That wasn't your YouTube channel. Try it again. That is literally how you have to approach content. You have to just keep forcing scenarios in which that luck will kick in. So don't ever listen to a content creator telling you that they didn't get lucky. But also, don't believe that luck is out of your reach. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's a bad message to spread. You gotta keep that is the point of the grind. The point of the grind is not to make yourself miserable. It's not to, you have to work harder than everybody else on the platform. Even though I have had to work harder than everyone else on the platform. Because there are a lot of amazing Black commentary creators. But when the average person clicks into a video and I open my mouth and it's like black, I just hit a button, and you've automatically perceived so much information about me that I was not trying to signal to you. That works against me sometimes. You have to work a little harder depending on who you are. It's the same, and it's the same thing too. Like, are you a woman? Hey, you're gonna have to work a little harder. You're not gonna open your mouth and everybody on the platform is gonna accept what you're saying as gospel truth. Unfortunately, a large portion of people are going to be biased against what you're saying. They're going to think you don't know what you're talking about. You're going to have to grind. But listen, no matter how easy it is or is not to make it on the platform, I would say whether it's YouTube or anything in life where you have to get lucky, if the luck doesn't work out, roll again. Don't invest money. Don't invest your health or anything that's making you miserable. Don't gamble. Reset the game. Play it like Final Fantasy 13. Be like, oh, I got 13 hours into the save file. It didn't work. We're starting this game again until I do a legendary run. And that's kind of what you're watching me on YouTube. I'm doing my legendary run. Anyways, that's my opinion. That's my last little bit of advice. I don't know. I just started ranting about YouTube. Someone's also making circumstances work out for you is important. That is literally the thesis of my statement. Everything I just ranted about in the past 15 minutes could be summarized as you need to find the luck in your scenario. Don't just tell yourself, oh, I don't have luck. These other people got lucky and they're lying to me if they say you can work hard. You have to work hard enough to find the luck that you need. Oh my gosh. I wish somebody had told me that even earlier. But I learned it early enough that I've made it work for me. Someone said vibrato. Oh my gosh, bro. You just reminded me of my singing voice and I freaked out. I have to leave now. I have to end the stream because I started thinking about me trying to sing with vibrato and sounding like, I don't even know who I sound like when I sing. It's bad. It's negative. Get me out of here. Oh my gosh. All right. Any last thoughts? No. So I literally need to hear this. I'm about to leave for my new lame job. Yes. Yeah, no, go give your jobs 80%. That's what the last little bit I'm going to leave you with. Go give your jobs 80%. Do acceptable work at your job today. Think to yourself like, oh, doing this last little bit of awesomeness will take some energy, and then don't spend that energy. You ain't finna get fired. Take that energy, come home, and spend it on something amazing.